Next, it's my pleasure to introduce a whole cast of allies, literally. Erin Taylor is an English teacher and the director of the Theater and Media Arts program at Bethesda-Chevy Chase High School in Maryland. Earlier this year, Erin had his theater students read and perform The Laramie Project, a play about the reaction to the 1998 murder of gay University of Wyoming student Matthew Shepard in Laramie, Wyoming. It was Erin's and his students' way of dealing with the suicide in April 2010 of a former BCC Bethesda-Chevy Chase student, Aiden Rivera Schaaf, who at the time of his death was in the process of transitioning from living as a girl to becoming a boy. 7 months earlier, Aiden had dropped out of school because of the relentless bullying he endured at the hands of some of his fellow students. Erin, the BCC theater director, said he wanted to use the play to reach out to LGBT students at BCC and offer his support. I wanted to set that example, to be an ally, he was recently quoted as saying. Erin, will you please stand and be recognized? And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the cast of The Laramie Project.
On January 11th, 2011, students from Bethesda-Chevy Chase High School in Bethesda, Maryland auditioned for the spring play, The Laramie Project, by Moises Kaufman and the Tectonic Theater Project. The play is based on a series of interviews the theater company conducted in the aftermath of the brutal murder of a gay University of Wyoming student named Matthew Shepard. The 14 students you see on stage now are the ensemble that journeyed from page to stage during the months of January, February, and March. The following are excerpts from the production. Company member Greg Perotti.
My first interview was with Detective Sergeant Hing of the Laramie Police Department. At the start of the interview, he was standing by his desk, standing something like this. I was born and raised here. My family is a third generation. It's a good place to live. Good people, lots of space. I moved here from rural Texas.
Zachy Salmon, Laramie resident.
Now in Laramie, if you don't know someone, you will definitely know someone they know, so it can only be 1 degree removed at most. And for me, I love it. I mean, I love to go to the grocery store because I get to visit with 4 or 5 or 6 people each time I go. And I don't really mind people knowing my business because, I mean, what's my business? I mean, my business is basically good.
It's hard to talk about Laramie now, to tell you what Laramie is for us.
University student Jedediah Schultz.
If you would have asked me before, I would have told you that Laramie is a beautiful town, secluded enough that you can have your own identity, a town with a strong sense of community, everyone knows everyone, a town with a personality that most larger cities are stripped of. Now, after Matthew, I would say that Laramie is a town defined by an accident, a crime. We've become Waco, we've become Jasper. We're a noun, a definition, a sign. We may be able to get rid of that, but it will sure take a while.
The fence. I've been out there 4 times. I've taken visitors. That place has become a pilgrimage site. Clearly, that's a very powerful personal experience to go out there. It is so stark and so empty, and you can't help but think of Matthew out there for 18 hours in nearly freezing temperatures with that view up there isolated, and the God, my God, why have you forsaken me, comes to mind.
Company member Greg Perotti.
Phil Labrie, a friend of Matthew's, took us to the fence this morning.
I broke down the minute I touched it. I could feel such a strong kinship with this young man. On the way back, I made sure that no one saw me crying.
Lee Fondakowski.
Greg was crying on the way back. I couldn't bring myself to tears, but I felt the same way. I have an interview this afternoon with Aaron Kreifels. He's the boy who found Matthew out at the fence. I don't think I'm up for it. I'll see if someone else can do it.
Well, I took off on my bicycle at about 5 p.m. on Wednesday from my dorm. I just kind of felt like going for a ride. So I went up to the top of Cactus Canyon, and I'm not super familiar with that area, so on my way back down, I didn't know where I was going. I was just sort of picking the way to go, which now it just makes me think that God wanted me to find him, because there was no way I was going to go that way. So I was in some deep sand, and I wanted to turn around, but for some reason I kept going. And I went along, and there was this rock on the ground, and I just drilled it. I went over the handlebars and ended up on the ground. So I got up and was just kind of dusting myself off, and I looked around and I noticed something, which ended up to be Matt. And he was just lying there by the fence, and I just thought it was a scarecrow. But when I saw his hair, well, I knew it was a human being. So I ran to the nearest house. I ran as fast as I could, and I called the police.
This is an excerpt from the arraignment, the statement of facts in the case.
The essential facts are that the defendants, Aaron James McKinney and Russell Arthur Henderson, met Matthew Shepard at the Fireside Bar, and after Mr. Shepard confided he was gay, the subjects deceived Mr. Shepard into leaving with them in their vehicle to a remote area. Upon arrival at said area, both subjects tied their victim to a buck fence, robbed him, tortured him, and beat him. Both defendants left the victim begging for his life.
On October 12th, 6 days after Matthew Shepard was admitted to the Poudre Valley Hospital, Rulon Stacy, the CEO of the hospital, gave the following medical update.
At 12 midnight, October 12th, Matthew Shepard's blood pressure began to drop. We immediately notified his family, who were already in the hospital. At 12:53 a.m., Matthew Shepard died. His family was at his bedside. The family did release the following statement. The family again asked me to express their sincerest gratitude to the entire world for their overwhelming response for their son. The family was grateful that they did not have to make a decision regarding whether or not to continue life support for their son. Like a good son, he was caring to the end and removed guilt or stress from the family. Matthew came into the world premature and left premature. Matthew's mother said, "Go home, give your kids a hug, and don't let a day go by without telling them that you love them."
Months later, Aaron McKinney was found guilty of felony murder, which meant the jury could give him the death penalty. Judy and Dennis Shepard, Matthew's parents, were approached by McKinney's defense team, who pled for their client's life.
The prosecution indicated that they would defer to the family's wishes as to whether or not to defer to the death penalty. The following morning, Matthew Shepard's father, Dennis Shepard, made the following statement.
My son Matthew did not look like a winner. He was rather uncoordinated, and wore braces from the age of 13 until the day that he died. However, in his all too brief life, he proved that he was a winner. On October 6, 1998, my son tried to show the world that he could win again. On October 12, 1998, my firstborn son and my hero lost. On October 12, 1998, my firstborn son and my hero died, 50 days before his 22nd birthday. I keep asking myself the same thing that I did when I first saw him in the hospital. What would he have become? How could he have changed his piece of the world to make it better? Matt's beating, hospitalization, and funeral have focused worldwide attention on hate. Good is coming out of evil. People have said, enough is enough. I miss my son, but I am proud to be able to say that he is my son. Judy has been quoted as being against the death penalty. It has been stated that Matt was against the death penalty. Both of these statements are wrong. Matt believed that there were crimes and circumstances that justified the death penalty. I too believe in the death penalty. I would like nothing better than to see you die, Mr. McKinney. However, now is the time to begin the healing process, to show mercy to someone who refused to show any mercy. Mr. McKinney, I'm going to grant you life, as hard as it is for me to do so because of Matthew. Every time you celebrate Christmas, a birthday, the 4th of July, remember that Matt isn't. Every time you wake up in your prison cell, remember that you had the opportunity and the ability to stop your actions that night. You robbed me of something very precious, and I will never forgive you for that. Mr. McKinney, I grant you life in memory of one who no longer lives. May you have a long life, and may you thank Matthew every day for it.
Dennis Shepard's statement echoed the sentiments of many. Doc O'Connor commented most poignantly by saying,
I tell you what, if they put those two boys to death, that would defeat everything Matt would be thinking about on them. Because Matt would not want those two to die. He'd want to leave them with hope. H-O-P-E. Just like the whole world hoped that Matt would survive. The whole thing, you see, the whole thing ropes around hope. H-O-P-E. Thank you.
Thank you.